I'm also starting to feel like she mess with dudes that keep the cape out on they do-rag. Hey, y'all gotta admit though, that shit was funny. Hey though, sex simplicity hats coming soon.
This would be like my healing chapter. I was right about that. A lot of wounds are being closed and aided at this point, and the wounds are being nurtured as well and closed up for good, you know. So I think for me, this is my chapter of healing.
For years, Teyana and her partner were seen as one of those couples that felt untouchable. Not perfect, not idealized, but real in a way people trusted. They laughed together, supported each other publicly, and appeared deeply connected in a way fans admired. Their love story felt grounded rather than flashy, and that authenticity made it believable. People weren't just watching two celebrities navigate fame. They were watching a partnership that seemed built on friendship, respect, and growth. So when news of their separation quietly surfaced, it didn't feel explosive at first. It felt confusing. The statements were calm. The tone was respectful. There was no public mudslinging, no messy accusations, no dramatic interviews. Just two people acknowledging that they had reached a place where separation felt necessary. And that calm unsettled people. Because when something ends without chaos, it often means the real emotions are unfolding behind closed doors. As time passed, fans began noticing something else. Teyana wasn't spiraling. She wasn't chasing attention. She wasn't trying to prove anything. Instead, she seemed lighter, more focused, more centered. She showed up confident, glowing, emotionally grounded. It wasn't loud, but it was powerful. The kind of energy that suggests someone has made peace with a difficult decision. Iman, on the other hand, seemed unsettled. Not in an obvious way, but in subtle moments that slowly added up. A song choice posted at the right time. A caption that felt heavier than usual. A silence where there used to be presence. None of it was dramatic, but it was noticeable. And people who had followed their relationship closely could feel it. Something had shifted. Then Aaron Pierre's name entered the conversation. At first, it was just whispers. A coincidence here. A shared space there. Fans noticed interactions that felt warm, comfortable, natural. There was no confirmation. No declaraciones. Just enough to spark curiosity. And curiosity on the internet doesn't stay quiet for long. Soon, timelines filled with speculation. Was Teyana moving on? Was there something real between them? Or was this just another case of fans reading too deeply into nothing? But here's the thing. Even rumors can change the energy of a situation. Once those whispers gained traction, something seemed to change in Iman. The timing raised eyebrows. Almost immediately, his online presence shifted. Posts became more emotional, more reflective, less detached. People began to wonder whether he wasn't reacting to the past, but to the possibility that Teyana was no longer emotionally available, that she might actually be stepping into something new. And jealousy doesn't always look like anger. Sometimes it looks like realization. Suddenly, the man who had seemed quiet and distant appeared more aware, more engaged, more intentional. Fans began noticing subtle attempts to reconnect. Moments that felt personal rather than performative. Not loud enough to be obvious, but not quiet enough to be accidental either. The question became unavoidable. Was he trying to win Teyana back? Or was he struggling with the idea that she no longer belonged to a shared past? Because there is something profoundly disorienting about seeing someone you once loved being desired by someone else. It forces reflection. It forces regret. It forces a kind of emotional honesty that's difficult to ignore. Meanwhile, Teyana remained steady. She didn't respond publicly to the rumors. She didn't shut them down. She didn't confirm them either. Her silence wasn't passive. It was controlled and intentional. It felt like the silence of someone who had finally learned the power of boundaries. And that silence spoke volumes. Behind the scenes, insiders hinted that Iman had been reaching out more. Conversations that extended beyond co-parenting. Moments of vulnerability. Admissions that came too late. Words that might have meant everything years ago, but now landed in a different emotional space. Because when growth happens separately, reconnection becomes complicated. Teyana wasn't the same woman she had been when the relationship first began. And that truth sat at the center of everything that followed. Time had reshaped her in quiet but undeniable ways. She had grown through experiences that demanded strength, patience, and self-awareness. She had learned what nourished her spirit and what slowly drained it. More importantly, she had learned the difference between compromise and self-betrayal. What once felt acceptable no longer did. What she once excused now felt heavy. Growth has a way of changing the rules without asking permission. The woman who entered the relationship was hopeful, open, and willing to bend for love. The woman standing at the end of it had clearer boundaries and fewer illusions. She knew what she needed emotionally. She knew what kind of energy made her feel safe. She knew what she deserved, without needing to explain it repeatedly. That kind of clarity doesn't come from comfort. It comes from surviving moments that force you to choose yourself when staying quiet would be easier. And that's where everything shifted. Love didn't vanish overnight. It didn't explode into anger or disappear in a single argument. It transformed. It softened in some places and hardened in others. What once felt like a shared future slowly became a shared past. Not because the feelings weren't real, but because they no longer aligned with who she had become. Sometimes love stays, but it no longer fits the life you're trying to build. There is a specific kind of grief that comes with outgrowing a relationship. It isn't just the loss of the person. It's the loss of the version of yourself who believed the story would end differently. Teyana wasn't just letting go of love. She was letting go of an imagined future that once felt certain. And that kind of grief is quiet, complicated, often misunderstood from the outside. It doesn't always look dramatic. Sometimes it looks like distance, like reflection, like choosing peace over explanation. What made this moment especially heavy was the reality that emotional evolution doesn't always happen at the same pace for two people. While one person is still holding on to what was, the other is already standing in what is. That gap creates tension, not because either side is wrong, but because they are no longer standing on the same emotional ground. Love alone can't bridge that distance. It needs alignment. It needs understanding. It needs mutual growth. Without those, even deep affection can begin to feel lonely. For Teyana, recognizing that truth wasn't an act of betrayal, it was an act of honesty. She didn't stop caring. She stopped pretending that caring was enough. Sometimes love doesn't disappear. It changes shape. It becomes gratitude instead of commitment, memory instead of promise, respect instead of attachment. And while that transformation can be painful, it can also be freeing. Because choosing yourself after growth isn't a failure. It's proof that the lesson stayed with you. In Teyana's case, it meant honoring the woman she had become, even if it meant releasing the life she once imagined. Fans began to split. Some believed in second chances. They saw the love story and wanted it rewritten with a happier ending. Others felt protective of Teyana, convinced that peace should never be sacrificed for nostalgia. Social media debates grew louder. Every move was analyzed. Every expression was interpreted. And right in the middle of it all sat Aaron Pierre, not confirming anything, not denying anything, simply existing as a symbol of possibility. Whether the rumors were real or not almost didn't matter anymore. The idea of him represented something powerful. New beginnings, curiosity, reinvention, the experience of being seen differently. And that's when the emotional tension reached its peak. Because trying to win someone back isn't just about love. It's about timing. And timing doesn't wait for realization. By the time you understand what you've lost, the other person may have already learned how to live without you. Iman's alleged attempts didn't feel aggressive or desperate. They felt sincere, emotional, reflective. But sincerity doesn't guarantee access. And regret doesn't reopen doors that were closed for self-preservation. Teyana's focus remained consistent. Her children, her career, her peace. She didn't rush into anything publicly. She didn't offer explanations. She didn't perform heartbreak. And that restraint made her position clear. Whatever decision she made next would be on her terms. And that's what made this situation so compelling. It wasn't about cheating. It wasn't about scandal. It wasn't about spectacle. It was about emotional timing. about what happens when two people grow, but not at the same pace. About realizing that love alone doesn't fix misalignment. As weeks passed, the energy shifted again. Iman appeared quieter, more introspective, almost as if the weight of acceptance was settling in. And sometimes the hardest realization isn't that you lost someone, it's understanding why. Because sometimes you don't miss someone until you see them happy without you. The internet will continue to speculate. Fans will continue to choose sides. Rumors will rise and fade. But one truth remains undeniable. Teyana Taylor reclaimed control of her story. She didn't react emotionally. She didn't perform heartbreak. She moved with intention. And whether she chooses to explore something new, reconnect with the past, or remain focused on herself, the power lies with her. That's the real twist in this story. Not jealousy, not rumors, not reconciliation, growth. Because the most shocking part of this entire situation isn't that someone might want Teyana back. It's that she may finally be in a place where she doesn't need anyone to complete her. And sometimes, that realization changes everything. So now the question isn't whether someone can win her back. The real question is, should they?